So let's kick this off. I'm fascinated by your life story. I think it's always good to just start there. Tell me your story. How do you frame it up if someone says, "Tell me your story"?
A child of two immigrants that came from Italy, met here in Chicago. My dad actually came here by boat. My ma came here with her parents in the 50s, flew here actually, not herself, the plane. That was cheesy. I don't know why.
That's good.
Boy, are our arms tired. Um,
That's my joke when I get on stage.
there you go. And grew up on the south side of Chicago as a Cubs fan by 55th and Central,
Sure.
Garfield Ridge area.
Yeah.
Grew up a Cubs fan because it was on WGN Channel 9, watching the games when you either come home from school or in the summer, watching all the day games. Didn't have the first lights till 88, so I had a good chunk of my childhood watching the Cubs during the day. Unless they were away, it was at night. But
Sure.
you find pockets of Cubs fans on the south side, true blue Cubs fans because of that. And my dad was a bodyguard, so we didn't have the money to have other channels. It was 2, 5, 7, 9, and boom, the Cubs are there. Went to Kinsey Grammar School, St. Lawrence High School, Elmhurst College. Played a year football in Germany, Dusseldorf, and then was a recruiter in accounting and finance, and have been a professional singer since 2001.
So I've heard you talk about becoming a professional singer, and your sister had influence on this.
Yes.
Did you, at that point, did you believe that you had the skill set, or was it something that you just did for fun?
I never believed I had the skill set. I still don't like my voice. I still don't like the way it sounds. I still, like when she said it, you should try this. I'm like, are you crazy? I had a very good job, and I loved the people I work with. Matter of fact, the president of the company, who I adored, Doug Christensen, passed away a few years back, and I sang at his memorial. I love that man. He taught me so much, and he was such a good man. So it was a 9-to-5 job, but it was a beautiful office in Westchester, a very casual atmosphere. You can wear shorts, t-shirt and gym shoes in the summer. There was a game room. There was air hockey, foosball, pool. He had golden tee golf. I mean, it was awesome, and he gave us a lot of incentives. Catered in lunch every week on Thursdays. We went on company trips. It was a great place, but 9-to-5 is not for me. It wasn't something that was for me. I did fine at it, and again, I loved the people, and I did well at my job. But my sister said, "You know what, Johnny? You sound like Sinatra. Why don't you try it?" And I go, "You're crazy. How am I going to do this? I'm 29. How am I going to support myself? She goes, "Try it at night. Just try it at night and see what happens." So I started at Rosebuds. Then I started at a place called No Pinos. And I did a couple nights here and there. And one of the recruiters went to Ditka's, saw a guy singing, and they would rotate 7 or 8 different singers, through their entertainment there. Every week they'd have somebody different. Manager over here says, "Bring him in for an audition." And Diana Ditka meets me the first day. She goes, "Sing New York, New York." I go, "Without music?" She goes, "Yeah." So I sing without music, and she goes, "You're hired." They gave me a 4-month deal, a year, a 2-year, and then a lifetime. So it's been 18 years. And Coach Ditka's turned out to be like a second father. And Mrs. Ditka is awesome. Like I said, Mom, I love them both. They're fantastic. Met so many great people through Ditka's. The Cubs saw me singing there in 2003. That's when I first started my anthem here. I've done the anthem for the Bears, the Packers, the Bulls, the Sox, the Cubs. Did Duke, North Carolina last year at Duke. Did Duke Wake Forest this year. Done a bunch of other ones. Went out to Copenhagen with President Obama and Mayor Daley for the Olympic bid and sang out there. Did something before the Super Bowl with Jamie Foxx. So they opened a lot of doors for me. And the gentleman who did all this, the two gentlemen, Mr. Ricketts and Mr. Crane Kenny, I don't know if you remember, but there was just a McDonald's here, a donut shop, and a parking lot. I used to park right there, and then that was it. You'd go sing.
Yeah, player parking.
There was nothing. There was nothing here. No, look at this. Look at this hotel. Look at everything. They made this a destination all year round, and they gave me a ring. I didn't ever had to get it. Unheard of. It was like, I'm nobody. Why'd you, for Mr. Ricketts to say, I want him to sing in the World Series, I'll never forget that. Because people want a big name. They want a celebrity. They don't, who the hell's John Vincent? Who is this guy singing, That's what actually happened when I sang. People were saying, who the hell is this guy? He sounds terrible. A lot of them hated it. Some of them loved it. The one person that loved it, that tweeted me personally, which I loved, was a lady by the name of Lady Gaga. And that changed everything for me. That got me into bullying, to speaking out against bullying, because I was bullied when I was younger. That got me into just talking about mental illness, depression, anxiety, OCD, because I saw what she did, and she became a figure to me that was like, wow, so impressive.
So that singing opportunity. Let's start. We're going to work our way back from the World Series. That was a Saturday game of the World Series.
Was it a Saturday? Yeah, it was Game 4. Was it Saturday?
Yeah, I was there.
Everything
I remember
was a blur.
you. And so I have my Instagram. I too said I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah. But
then you have this signature thing that you made yours, which is the holding of a tune.
Yeah.
Is that important to you, or did you?
It is. What happened was, I could go in there tonight and sing and hold it for 3-4 seconds and be fine.
Yeah.
Like I would have no problem doing that and be okay with it. My father grew up in Italy, and during World War II, he was born in 1935. He showed me in 1985 or 86, when I was a kid, a spot in the middle of the piazza of the town of Palena in Abruzzo. He said, Johnny, right here, I'm going to tell you a story. Your Nonna Giconda, his mom, who since passed at that time, or no, she was alive at that time, but has since passed. My dad was probably about 7-8 years old. It's 1942, 43. Got kicked out of his row house by the Nazis. They were living actually in a barn, literally in a barn. There was, he has 10 brothers and sisters. Some of them passed. My uncles passed and my one aunt. But at the time, it was probably him, my Auntie Mary, my Uncle Benny. I want to say maybe that was it, or one more child. They also had one that passed away at 11 weeks. So you see this spot right here? I said, yeah. He goes, there was a tarp underneath the tank. And he goes, your nonna says, vai prende quel tarpa sotto la tanca. Si fanno le panni, no legno. Go get that tarp under that Nazi tank. We'll make pants for the kids. You kids will cover the wood. You know, because they had their row house. It was 2 rooms, a kitchen, and a bathroom. That was it. And 11 people lived in that. And at that time, he says, he goes under there, he grabs this, turns around, a Nazi soldier has a gun to my grandmother's head, and he goes, you can have this, but she dies. I said, I thought Italy and Germany were, you know, Axis powers were, you know, on the same side. He goes, oh, no. He goes, the Nazis overran us. Because one Nazi kicked me down the stairs over here, another one beat the crap out of my uncle over here. He goes, Johnny, it was horrible. Mussolini was Hitler's puppet. So I just think of free. When I think of free, I think of freedom for humanity. For humanity, for people. I want people free. I think of the underdog. I think of the people, whatever, that are hurting anywhere in what matter, shape, or form. That's why I do it. And when I started doing it at Wrigley, that's when I started holding it. The crowd started enjoying it. And the people at the Cubs are like, this is great. People love it. Do it. You know, Forbes magazine, all these things started talking about it during the World Series. I was on all these different shows, programs, and everybody made a big deal about me holding free. And I just kept holding it longer because the crowd was cheering. That was it. You get the other side of it. Other singers, other people, other are like, you know, this guy's a ham, he's a hot dog, you know, he's doing it for himself. Listen, first of all, I got to the point in my life now where I don't give a crap. Whatever people want to think, you know what, I don't care anymore. But I'm not doing this for any attention. I sing for a living. I do a show. I do 29 different voices. That's where I make my money. I sing the National Anthem, and I love singing the National Anthem, and I'm so excited to sing it tonight. I'm excited to sing it. I love it. It's amazing. But I don't make my career singing the National Anthem. My career is singing, doing my show. That's where I get paid. And you get people, you know, who say, sing it right, you know, sing it this way, and that's un-American, and this, and they're just screaming at me. They're coming at me, and I'm like, hold on. No, sing it with love, man. Because my 2 favorite people who sang it were Whitney Houston and Marvin Gaye. Remember Marvin Gaye?
Yeah, sure.
You know, he didn't sing it like normal. He didn't sing it like normal. The only time you are known for the anthem is when something sticks out or if when you screw up. Look what they did to Fergie. That poor girl just wanted to sing it. Maybe she was trying to do it like Marvin Gaye because it was during the NBA All-Star game. Maybe she was just trying to be doing it, give it kind of a Marvin Gaye spin. And you know, Marvin Gaye was so unbelievably talented, was so amazing. He was probably the only guy who could pull that off, right? It was his own thing.
Right.
And people just went after her. And I'm like, God, like, how about if I come to your job and just start ripping on you? You know, you suck for doing this. You're terrible at this. But the hatred. The one thing about social media, it's bred so much hatred. It's bred so many cowards that can hide behind a computer and say these things. I don't like people who are mean, who are assholes. But if you're going to be one, you want to be one to somebody's face, or do you want to hide behind a computer? Because that's the ultimate coward, to hide behind a computer and attack somebody. Then, to me, you lost. You are totally done when you did that. When you did that, it's over. It's over. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what the hell am I doing?
People do it, this bullying behavior, there's got to be a part of jealousy, insecurities, right? Like behind every bad person, there's still a story behind them that caused them to get to this point.
Of course.
But it's hard because it's almost impossible to get to a place of having a vulnerable conversation with someone to say, oh, why? Why are you doing this?
Well, there's two feelings in life. You know that, right?
Love and hate.
No. I thought it was that too. You're close. You got love right. Think about the other one.
Fear?
Yeah. Love, fear.
Yeah.
There's a great book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle about living so presently in the moment. That's all you do is you enjoy the moment. If a dog was sitting here with us, if you just petted that dog, he'd be wagging his tail, happy that you're giving him attention right there. They're living in the moment. We as human beings are living for tomorrow or regretting the past. When we start living in the moment, we become enlightened. What's something we all do that none of us have to think of every day?
Breathe?
Exactly. But when you start paying attention to your breathing, now you're doing meditation because you're becoming present.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Take a deep breath. You're nervous. Now you're here, right? You're here. You're, oh shit, I'm here.
Yeah, right.
And that's the problem. We don't stay here. We go forward or we go backwards and we just live this miserable life. Life is hard enough. And what we have is fear from our ego and love from our spirit. So the ego has fear. So what comes out of fear? Hate, anger, jealousy, envy, all these things that are really fear of non-existing, of dying, of ending, of being, as the older I get, the better I like being wrong. I won't say better I like being wrong. That's a weird way of saying it.
You know how to take it.
I appreciate getting because you're taught something.
Yeah.
If you're always right, you'll never learn something.
Yeah, right.
But if you can be wrong and you can understand, well, okay, that makes sense. You just learned something right there. But we're afraid to be wrong. We're afraid to, we do things with money and all this stuff and cars and houses and this and that. I did all that too. I used to have a nice car and I got to the point I'm like, what am I doing this all for? Because I'm going to be dead one day. All of us are. 100 years from now, we're all gone.
We're all gone.
Ain't going to matter. And what is it, 2119? In 2119, pretty damn sure this will be here. And there'll be a whole different set of people here with a whole different set of problems, with a whole different set of quote unquote important things that they think are important that aren't. We make the unimportant important.
At some point, like your story, where your family came from to get here, being bullied at points during your childhood, like you shouldn't have that viewpoint. You should be on the other side. Like statistically, it would say that you weren't treated with white gloves. So at what point do you
mean on the other side of what?
Just your life, and now your viewpoint. Like, what was the trigger moment that made you who you are?
You mean other side of what? Being a jerk and being,
sure, yeah.
Oh no, I went through.
You could be,
but I did. I went through it. I went through it in my 20s. What do you think when I became 6'5"? Oh man, when I played football, I was a big man, and I was angry. I was angry, and I was pissed off, and I was unhappy. And then it was time in my 30s where I just started learning more and more. And then when I hit 40, something just really changed in me. It was like, dude, like you've seen people die that are close to you. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. Nobody is. Me, you, anybody here, nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. Terrible things happen to everybody. And it's like, when are you going to just let go and let God? And just got to really let go and let God.
Yeah.
I don't tell anybody how to live their life. I have very strong faith in God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Very, very strong faith. If somebody doesn't, I'm not going to judge them for it, because that's not what you're supposed to do. You love everyone, and if you can't love somebody, just at least be kind. If you can't be kind, then be nothing. There were times I was a jerk, and I would yell, I would scream, I would argue, I'd fight. Man, there were many times like that in my younger days. But you look back and you're like, for why? For what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. How does it matter? How does anything matter except being kind or being loving? It sounds so corny, but think about it, right? I use this thing over and over again. If there's an elderly person walking through that door right there with a walker and you hold the door open for them, an hour later, are you going to say, why did I do that? If you get in a car and two guys are trying to get in the same lane and you scream and yell, which like I used to do many times when I was younger, and you're yelling F you and the other guy's yelling F you and you're flipping each other off, I guarantee an hour later, unless you're a psychopath, you're like, why did I do that? And you don't feel good inside, right?
Don't feel good. No.
When you do the right thing, you do the right thing.
Yeah.
And you feel it. When you do the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, and you pretty much feel that too. Thank God there's a small percentage of society called psychopaths that don't have that empathy. But the vast majority of us, 99 point how many percentage, we have empathy. We just react on fear. All of us, me, you, everybody, we just react on fear. When we can let go of the fear and know we all screw up, we all have problems, we all make mistakes. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We all make mistakes, man. We all do. We're not perfect, and we're not supposed to be perfect. Somebody who tells me they're not afraid of anything, or they're perfect, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
We all are. We all are afraid. We all are imperfect. We're human beings. We're ants on this planet, on this little marble that, if you looked at the known universe, it's 91 billion light years across. And there probably is other life forms out there, and there's probably is other, who knows what lies outside of this. Some scientists say there's more planets than grains of sand on the Earth. I mean, that's right there, like, whoa.
That's crazy.
Right? So any of the problems we have, you got to just look and say, okay, there's somebody else who's really hurt. Some people who can't get clean water. Some people can't eat. Some people, there's people dying right every 2 seconds. Every 1 second, 2 people die in the world. Every 1 second. 155,000 people die a day. And those 155,000 people have family, have friends, have, really, if you keep going down separation, we're all connected to every one of them.
Sure. So, from what I'm hearing, it's, and some people can get here. Some people, whether it's life experiences, or just general awareness, you can get to a point where you realize that this life is short.
Yeah.
And then it changes your perspective. What I'm hearing is that you've gotten there, and maybe it was turning 40 that was a trigger moment, but you got there where you decided that for whatever time you have left on this world,
yeah,
you're going to treat it differently.
Yeah. And am I 100% there? No way. Do I struggle still? Yes, definitely struggle. But I try to find, and this is what I tell people who have mental illness and depression and anxiety, and because I wanted to come out and say all that, because I did it because I looked at Lady Gaga and I said, wow, she's open about her struggles. She had a thing when she was bullied. It showed there was a picture of her in high school that somebody said, Stephanie, I don't know what her last name is, will never be famous. And then the next picture is her holding the Oscar. And I was like, that's awesome, man. Good for her. She just seems awesome. So she inspired me to go do this. I got a platform now where I can go talk to schools, and I'll talk, like I said, any school, anywhere, for free about bullying. I sing, you pay me, but when I talk, I'll do that for free because I feel strongly about bullying. And I was bullied, and I became a bully then. I became angry then when I was in college and stuff. And thank God I had good friends and a good family who reined me in. And they're like, Johnny, seriously? And I went to go get mental help. I go to a psychiatrist. I don't have a problem saying that. I don't have a problem hiding my faults. I'll wear them right here, because if it helps one person, then that's great. What I'm doing is I'm finding out it's helping a lot of people. So when you say, hey, when was that turning point? That turning point happened, but I'm not there yet. I just went through ketamine treatments with Dr. Bal Nandra at Chicago IV Solutions, and it's helped tremendously with depression, tremendously. And I'm telling people, I'm sharing this with people. That's another option. Look at every option you can do to better yourself and help yourself. It's not the end of the world. I tried committing suicide. I won't lie about that. I'll be open about it. If I have to say that it helps somebody not do that, I'll say it.
It's surreal. I'll say it's surreal, because I feel like so many people struggle to say what you're saying right now. For fear, you just talked about the emotion that causes them, right?
Weakness. It's quote unquote, it's weak to do that, right? But it's the opposite. Once you finally let go, it's the opposite. Once you let go, you let go.
Yeah.
Now your fear is gone. I'm not saying all your fear is gone. I'm not saying you're fearless. I'm saying a lot of your fear just goes to the side. One of my favorite things, I won't say favorite, I mean, one of my most amazing things that I saw on the internet was a picture of a mansion, and right next to it a picture of a small hut somewhere in poverty. And underneath it, the mansion, and it had a picture of a grave. And underneath the hut it had a picture of a grave. And they were both the same size. I don't care how big your house is, how big your car is, how much money you have. You never see a U-Haul behind a Hertz, or whatever that was called, right?
Yeah.
Life is life. 93% of people in hospice talk about love, life, family, friends. They don't talk about success or this or that. So when you start letting that go on you and you start saying, none of this matters. That's why when I look at this, my ring, I'm like, I feel love for Mr. Ricketts and Mr. Kenny and the Cubs organization for being so nice to me.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up a Cubs fan, and to have that is a lifelong dream. Like I would never thought that as a kid. Never thought that. And people are like, oh, and I'm like, I just like, man, if I was ever homeless, you'll see me underneath the bridge with this on my hand. Because that was a sign of kindness. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. No way did he have to do that. And they gave out 2,000 something of them. And you have to do that to all, but that's a sign of love and kindness, right? Makes people smile, Those little things, man. When you do something right, you just feel better.
Do you feel like some of the stuff pre this moment, pre today, that eventually just doing the right thing has helped? Like, do you have good karma now? Is there value in?
You know what? I don't believe in karma because a lot of people do, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's bad karma, it's this or that." Good and bad things happen to everybody.
Sure, of course.
Everybody. So at the end of the day, life is a test. Good. If you do good, doesn't mean good things are going to happen to you. I do believe if you do bad, you have a lot better chance of bad things coming to get you. Like if you keep hurting people and doing things, you can, somebody can come and get you, and things can get you. But good things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. My cousin, my Aunt Mary died at the age of 50 in 1989 of breast cancer. And my Uncle Benny, who I love dearly, had to raise 3 daughters, Linda, Christina, and Gina. I have 2 older sisters and myself. Christina, my cousin, right after the Cubs won the World Series, right before the Cubs won the World Series, she felt something, would always go to the doctor, would always get things checked out, everything. She felt something on her side. Turned out she had a disease called, I want to say, uterine sarcoma, that 6 in 1 million women get. And she died at the age of 50 with 2 kids in the month of February. My Uncle Benny buried his wife at 50 in February and his daughter at 50 in February. And I said to him, Uncle Benny, how do you do it? He said, you just got to be strong for other people, Johnny. And I look at this man, and he never got remarried. He lives a very quiet life, just a good man, a solid man, loving, caring, a kind person. He's 80 years old now, or 81 years old. And he's just, you look at that and they say, well, they never did anything. They were great people. My cousin Christina was an amazing person. We have a charity event for her every year, that I sing at, that, we try to raise awareness because this is such a rare disease that she had. And she was an unbelievably beautiful person that people and her friends and family always say she was remembered by the way she would hug people. She'd hug everybody.
So maybe karma doesn't work the way that it should, but maybe memories do, right? Because she's living on in what people remember,
of course,
as her. And I think the same is true of the way that you carry yourself as a human in this world, that if you try and everybody will have screw ups, but you try your best to be a good person, then the memories, the value of that should carry on for a long time.
Definitely. That's the thing. Like, when you spread love gets spread. When you spread hate, hate spreads. That's all it is, right? But in reality, this world, this lifetime is nothing. That's the first thing we have to wrap our heads around. This is nothing. If you live to 10, and I'm not saying, it's a tragedy. When anybody dies, it's a sad thing, and it's horrible, and we miss them, and we hurt, and we have pain. But if you live to your 10 or you live to 100, it goes by like this.
Yeah.
It goes by like this.
Doesn't matter.
We think of as 500 years as a long time. 500 years is not a long time when it comes to eternity.
No.
It's a drop in the bucket.
You're right.
Think about it. 500 years from now, ain't nobody going to be thinking about me and you. Nobody. But, see, none of us are anything, but all of us are everything. When we finally learn that all of us are connected, that we're all something bigger than this, part of the universe that God created, and we're all part of this wonderful thing, that's what life is. Not this. This will be gone. This will be gone. We'll be gone one day. Eventually, one day, the sun will implode, and that'll be gone. And people don't realize that. Everything on this earth will be gone one day. The earth will be gone.
Why don't people listen to this?
because I think when we, and I don't listen to it all the time, because I think when we think of that, it scares us. It scares our ego. That's why you have to let go of the ego, like Eckhart Tolle says, and die before you die. Let the inner being take over. And that's what, one example is Joe Madden. I know Joe very well. He's a very peaceful guy. He's a guy that has love in his heart, talks about meditation with me, talks about being present, talks about all these great things. Gave me an app, taught me about an app about meditation and everything. And we have some really deep conversations away from baseball. We have a connection. We call each other fratello, which is brother in Italian. And he's so peaceful and Zen-like. I know people like that. My Uncle Joe, who is like that. He's another person. My Uncle Benny, who is like that in his own way, very Zen-like. It's a different way. It's a very old school way, but kind of like my dad. He had stage 4 colon cancer when he was 67 years old. It spread to his lymph nodes. Was bleeding for 6 months. Went to my mom, finally said, I got a problem here. Went to Loyola. They pull out the colostomy. There's blood everywhere after colonoscopy. They say, you got cancer. My mother said, my father's response like, okay, I'm the biggest chicken in the world. My dad just goes, okay. I go to hug him, and in a very heavy Italian accent, he goes, wait a minute, Johnny, I'm a 67 years old. There's kids 5, 6 years old, they got a cancer. Don't worry about me, I'm 67. And I looked, and he didn't say I was gonna beat it. He didn't say I wasn't gonna beat it. He said, it is what it is.
He's at peace.
You know what? He's 83 now. He's still chopping down trees at his house and cutting the grass and shoveling the snow. The last snowstorm we had a couple weeks ago, he shoveled the snow at 83 years old. And I just said, well, I know why he lived that way, because he saw the horrors of World War II. And he said, I hope you never see what I saw. I hope you never see door-to-door combat, people getting killed. Him and my Uncle Benny talking about if we were at that row house instead of this room, we would have blown up with those other guys when the body parts came our way. He said, I hope you guys never experienced that. So he was enlightened through tragedy, which a lot of people do get enlightened through tragedy.
Yes, their life events equal that.
Of course.
So, well, one guy that I talked with, a friend of mine, Gary Brackett, he played for the Indianapolis Colts. That's not his story, but he had to walk on at college. He did not get drafted in the NFL. He ends up playing for 10 years. 23, playing for Dungey. His dad dies of cancer. His mom dies of a stroke. And his brother dies, or his dad died of a heart attack, mom died of stroke, brother dies of cancer within like 13 months. So, but it's interesting because you talk to him, and the worst day for some people is not the worst day for him, because your perception of life changes based on the experiences that you're dealt. And
you look at him and he sounds like an amazing guy. He sounds incredible. And that's what, I got a friend in the Pentagon, Jason Eason. And I tell him, I get afraid of, hypochondria, this, that, or everything else. I go, what are you afraid of? And he goes, I'm not afraid to die. Well, I'm afraid, he goes, I'm afraid to die because if I don't accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish. And I just go, boom, and it just like hit me I'm like, dude. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, that's not being afraid to die. You're just afraid of not doing everything you want to do on this earth. I go, you're unbelievable. Unbelievable. He works for the Secretary of the Army. And I went to the Pentagon and I've seen so many unbelievable people in that building. I went to the memorial, 9/11 there, and if you don't get goosebumps and teary-eyed, you don't have anything inside you. I was crying and looking at that and be like, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking of that. Like, you think of these people that put their lives on the line, who say, no, I didn't accomplish enough. I need to accomplish more before I die. That's a hero. That's amazing to me. There's a general I became very good friends with who, same way, General Winsky, unbelievable man. I mean, just the way he handles himself. The way I brought him onto Wrigley one day in full uniform, and we had him honored and everything. And there's heroes out there, like your friend, like my friend Jason and my friend General Winsky, who are unbelievable people, who are people that look at life and don't look at themselves, but look at others around them. Right. Like my Uncle Benny. I said, how do you keep going? He goes, well, you got to be strong for other people, not for yourself. And you look at that, you're like, whoa. He's telling me you got to keep going for everybody else, not for you. That's pretty amazing. Like, think about that, right? He's very, I love it. So cute how he says it. I go, Uncle Benny, how do you do it? He's like, you got to go for other people, Johnny, not for you. You got to be stronger for other people. This guy lost his wife, lost his daughter. Just, man, like, And then I feel selfish because I get so wrapped up with my OCD, right? I wrapped up, nervous, this, that. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. We think we can control things. We can only control how we react to things. We don't control anything. We only control how we react, right?
So 2 points of what you just said. One, it seems like, and maybe this is some of the cards that you're dealt, that you've spent part of your life, even probably going back to being a kid and asking your dad questions, that you're asking questions. You're looking for others for advice. Is that comfort of understanding what people have gone through in the past to help you in the future? Is it because you're super fascinated with the way that life works?
Yeah. People say that I two things. I tell people too much of my business, and I need to be more quiet about things. And people say, Johnny, you talk too much you're too open. Like, everybody suffers, but you just tell everybody. Like, and then you think like,
is there value in that?
They're saying it like, because when I suffer, and then I go out and they go, you're just too open, and you think that in reality, people just aren't as open as you are, and tell them how much you feel the pain or what you're feeling or this or that. And then I realized, I'm like, well, that's good, right? And they're like, yeah, it is good, because now you're letting go. Like, at first people would be like, you're keeping yourself exposed by saying, I was bullied, I have depression, I have anxiety, I have OCD. Why do people not tell people that? Why a long time ago people didn't tell if they had certain diseases or illnesses?
They're afraid of being vulnerable.
And a stigma, right? There's still a stigma on mental illness
fine.
in this day and age, right?
Right, yeah,
it still
fine.
Is.
Sure.
So people are afraid to say that. So they say 1 in 4 people suffer from depression in this country. 1 in 4. I don't know if that's true or not.
Right here, right?
So 1 in 4. So I don't hear 1 in 4 people telling me they are depressed. But when I said that on Facebook, and when I said that on Windy City Live, and when I said that on WGN, I got messages upon messages on my Facebook saying, oh my God, I suffer too. I said, boom, 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 boom. Grown men telling me how they hurt, how they suffer, and this and that, and everything else. Everybody just coming out of the woodwork and saying it, because they said, we never thought you're hurting, and you get depressed, or you're sad, or you're scared of this. And I'm like, okay, that's what I got to do. If that's what I got to do, fine, And I think because we're afraid to look weak. But when you make yourself look weak and you put it out there, what can you attack at that point? Now, if you want to attack me, it's on you. Attack me. Whatever, that's fine. Now attack me. Don't get me wrong. I still get...
Still sucks.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm on... I'm talking about, you get these guys like saying that the hashtag sing it right about the National Anthem, or he's a hot dog for doing this, and he's this, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, why? I'm like, I'm not trying to, you know what? I should just sing it and do free, and that's it, and just let it go, and that's it, and that's it.
No.
And I'm like, I should just do that. And I've had many famous people are like, don't you dare, you keep doing that, Johnny, because why do you do it? I tell them the story. They're like, you're doing it out of love. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. And then I notice people say those things because they want to attack because they're not happy. We all would say things and deflect or gossip because we're not happy inside. Once we find this happiness or this peacefulness, that starts quieting down so much. And then you start worrying about the person next to you and say, man, what are they going through? How would it be being you? How would it be being her? How would it be being her? How would it be? I don't know what all these people up here, what problems they're having. But if we get so consumed with our own problems, then we're not worried about anybody else. They found that kid today, that 5-year-old boy. They found him. I got it on Twitter, on news, that they found him dead. 5 years old, man. 5 years old. 5 years old. That's fair? Is that right? Think about that, man.
Crazy.
Think about being 5. And who knows how he went? Like, who knows that stuff? Like, it's just terrible. And then people get on Facebook and the internet or Twitter and they fight with each other. Families fighting about politics, fighting about religion, fighting about this, fighting about that. I'm very spiritual. I believe in God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. But whatever religion you are, I have friends who are atheists. Doesn't mean I don't love them. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge, man? Who am I to judge? I'm just a person who's going to die like everybody else.
You're so deep inside. Like, I'm fascinated by this because, look, I've gone through a lot. I think there's a lot of similarities in our stories, but you're present also in people's views and your deepness to want to change them, not to change them, to educate them that there's no purpose to you calling you a hot dog, saying why, like there's no purpose to it. There's no value to it, and you're so deep on understanding this, but it's like, how do we spread a message, right?
You know what people say is the world getting worse? Well, honestly, we are living in the best time ever, because if we get sick or something happens, we have anesthesia, we have all these things, we have medical developments. Even if we're terminal, they have ways of making us feel more comfortable. Think about back in the day during the Civil War, if somebody had a wound on their leg, they gave you a bottle of whiskey and they started sawing off your knee, man. I couldn't imagine that. Think about caveman times, or think about medieval times when people were just getting sick and they were dying in 30s, 20s, the plague back in the day, all these things that where people had no medical help, and there's still people in this world who don't have medical help. But living in technology-wise, we live in the best time where we have the best, most comfortable luxuries. We got air conditioning, we got this, we got that, we got so many things. A lot of people don't, but we do, and we take it for granted. Maybe in 500 years from now, it'll get even better. But there's a downside to that. The internet and social media.
Full exposure.
Terrible. It's terrible. Like, kids are getting bullied on social media now, which I didn't have to have that happen.
Me neither.
There's mass shootings at schools, which we didn't have to deal with back in the day. There's things that we know more of that are happening more and more. If you look at medieval times, I love to study history. Terrible things have happened. Terrible people were wiped out. Look at, the terrible things that happened in life, the Holocaust, the evilness that happened during World War II, all these things that were terrible. You hope that we learn from history. And so you could say there's good and there's bad. The good is we have so many beautiful technological things, and there's so many good things. The bad is, there's still a lot of hatred, there's still a lot of this and that, and there's still a lot of terrible things. So a lot of ways our lives are more comfortable, but half of the world's population lives on $2.50 a day, and a third of it lives on $1 a day. So there's a lot of people that are still suffering, but there are a lot of people with a lot of money who still suffer. Everybody suffers.
Everybody suffers.
So how do we spread the word? I don't know. I don't know if humanity at its point is ever going to change, because it's fear that keeps us this way, right? And it's like, where do we screw up? You see a little kid, you see a baby, they're so innocent. Where did we screw up, man? Where did it happen? Where did this anger, where these people become this way happen? Me being one of them. I know I have OCD, depression, anxiety, and I know when after I got bullied, I was really angry. I was angry that they used to beat me up. I was angry that they bloodied my nose. I was angry at all the stuff that happened to me, being afraid of going to school. And I had anger inside of me. One day I had to say, I gotta let that anger go, man. I gotta let it go. It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna help anybody. It definitely ain't gonna help me. But then I went a step further and said, it's not going to help anybody. Just be. Just live in the moment and be. Just be who you are. And be kind or be nothing. And if you can't be kind, be nothing. Then just be nothing. Be nothing. Be nothing. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know how else to explain it, but when you get angry and you get upset, you don't feel good inside. At least I know. I'd rather not get angry. I'd rather not get upset. I'd rather just be like, all right, what can I do about it? If you're not hurting somebody physically or mentally, I have no problem with you. What am I, what's my business to tell anybody how to live?
That's it. You're controlling your decision. That's the one thing you can control.
Right. If I see somebody and they're not hurting somebody physically or mentally, I have no right to say anything.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Do you feel? So it was interesting. I'm talking to a guy. He runs a fitness chain. Another friend of mine. So he made it close. He got drafted by the San Francisco Giants. He was a pitcher. And as we started diving into the pains that he had to go through, we got to a place, he's like, it gave me goosebumps, because I said, probably those extra few miles per hour on your pitch, did that come from that pain? And he said, yeah, like as I think about it, yeah, I was a little bit more oomph in it. Do you feel like, obviously the love comes out in you holding the note that you've now become known for? Is it also like, is it a meditation, like you're letting out, you're sharing something that's deeper that's not coming out?
No. When I sing and I do songs, and especially when I do my show and people are like, hey, can you sing My Way? My dad passed away, it was his song. Or can you sing Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World? It was our wedding song. Things like that. When I'm doing the anthem and I see the crowd cheering, again, that makes me happy that they're cheering. That's it. If the crowd wasn't cheering, I'll stop that right there. I'll stop right there. I just do it because the crowd is cheering. And the reason I started is because it was, I don't know how long it was maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But then I started holding it when I started hearing them cheering, because they would cheer when I hit it. And then they would stop, and then they would start cheering again. I'm like, okay, and then they're like, keep going. I'm like, okay, I'll keep going. And so I do it because, yeah, I guess there is love there, and I want to make people happy, right? It's not, the people say, oh, he's making it about himself. How did I make it about myself? What am I getting from it? I still am a singer. I still sing for a living. I still, the only thing that changed my life were the Cubs, the opportunity, Mike Ditka, and Crank Kenny, and Mr. Ricketts giving me a platform to sing. That's what changed my life. I'm forever grateful for that. What I'm doing when singing free or whatever is just trying to make people happy. What I found, a lot of people hate it, and I'm like, oh shit, man. Okay.
I don't think it's true. I think,
trust me.
I think
I get a lot.
Sure,
people coming out to me.
But look at that crowd, man. There's 40,000 people in there, and let's say there's 2,000 of them. You're only going to hear the That's why Yelp reviews suck.
Yeah, I know.
It's bigger, man.
Right.
You create goosebumps, and whether they're able to communicate with you or not in those moments.
Right.
I mean, maybe they'll do it through this. But everything you're saying, I promise you, inside enough people in there, you're having an effect that inside them, there's something that's happening in that moment that makes them feel good. So don't listen to the haters.
Well, thank you. And I hope so, because you know why? I don't want to make anybody angry. I don't want to make anybody upset. I don't.
Clearly.
I really don't. I don't want to get people upset. I don't want to get people riled up. And once in a while, I'll get caught up in people saying stuff. Like one guy just came out on Twitter, and I was saying something nice about somebody else, and he's like, thank God you're not singing on Easter. You're a big ham. You're a big clown, blah, blah, blah. And I started getting back. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be with my big Italian family, enjoying Easter, and thank God I have that. I can watch the Cubs and enjoy just the day. And then I just found myself getting angry, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This is stuff you said you were not going to get into. And again, my human part, my ego got involved. I got pissed. And I'm like, fuck, what the hell? Like, what am I doing? And you get so wound up, and then you're like, dude, doesn't matter. None of it matters. Nothing matters. The more you understand that, nothing matters but love. Sounds corny, but if you think about it, there's a cemetery not far from here. You know how many people are buried in that cemetery? Thousands. And then you know how many cemeteries are in Chicago? You know how many people are probably buried around here from millions of years before us and all that?
Sure.
It doesn't matter. We make the unimportant important. Don't make the unimportant important. Just live your life with love. And if you can't be kind, be nothing. And I'm not preaching this because I'm a total screw up. I have my problems, I suffer, I have my problems, I have my insecurities, I have all of it. But I noticed more and more, it's all starting to let go. And I'm starting to say, I don't give a crap. In a good way. If you can start not giving a crap in a good way, life just starts to look differently towards you. And then you're like, all right, now I don't care what these people think, because I'm just going to try to be kind.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's okay. It's fine. People want to, say whatever they want to say it. That's fine.
But right? I think, and you've said this. I think you are having enough of effect, even if it's that one person that you're changing. Like I said this before we're even recording. I said, at spring training, there are 2 people that I wanted a photo with. Bus when he walks by, because I think he's an awesome.
And Bus is awesome.
It was great. Awesome. Nobody stopped him.
He's a happy guy.
I want a picture of him.
Why do you think he's part of the Cubs? He's a happy guy. The players love him. And I know Bus personally.
But in you.
He's awesome.
I'm telling you, I could, before we even connected, before the world even connected us, I want a picture with you. So I'm telling you, man, stay true to this, because when you start looking at what success really is, you've been given a platform, and that creates exposure, and that means the haters all come out. I get it every day. But when you start realizing that your effects are still greater than the evil, it doesn't matter.
I agree with you on that. I agree. And you get to a point of saying, what's evil? is it evil or is it, again, fear? And I think I want to give most of humanity, the vast majority of us, the benefit of the doubt and say it's fear. We do these things out of fear. Maybe I'm gullible because I want to say if we could sit one-on-one and talk, I believe that we can get to the bottom of anything.
Sure.
Be loving and kind to someone. Right. And problems can be solved. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know. I think there is evil in this world. There is that, there's terrible things that happen. But again, I think it's that one small percentage that they call psychopaths that are, these people that hurt people and do these terrible things. I think the vast majority of us are good people. Even the ones who do bad things and say bad things and this and that, they're good people that are just afraid.
They're afraid,
right?
and they don't know how to be vulnerable. And that's exactly why when you go on these shows and you talk about your challenges, it's exactly why, like, you're giving humans permission to address their own issues.
Yeah, that's all.
And that's what people are searching for.
Yeah.
A lot of people are searching for that. I appreciate this. I appreciate even the fact that we're able to have a real conversation in a world where we didn't know each other an hour ago. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, it's my pleasure. I could tell right when I met you, the energy out on the street was good, right? Sometimes you get that energy, like, Eckhart Tolle says that negative energy usually vibrates and they connect people with negative energy, like you're in a line, say at a grocery store, or at a Walgreens or somewhere, or 7-Eleven, and you see a lady behind the counter or a man behind the counter and they just have their head down and one person after the other just walks in and just, I need this or I need that. Go up to them and say, hey, how you doing today? What's going on? And sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm all right. And if you even go, oh, I hope it gets better. I'm so sorry. Just that minute of like, holy cow, okay, all right. It's like the Cubs ring. If I see somebody, I'm like, you see me wearing Cubs stuff? I'm like, you're not a real Cubs fan. And they're looking like, who is this guy? What the hell? And I'm like, you're a Cubs fan? And I'll be like, stick your hand out. Sometimes you'll be like shocked. And I'll put the ring on there. I'm like, oh my God, that makes me happy, man. That makes me be happy. Making people happy makes me happy. I used to be that guy that was angry and just wanted to be miserable, right? Because I was miserable. I was fucking miserable, so I wanted to be miserable. And what happens when you're miserable? You want to make other people miserable. I don't want to be miserable, and most of us don't want to be miserable. How do you do that? By being kind. You can't be kind, do nothing.
I love it, man. I appreciate it.
Brother.
I appreciate all this, and, it's great. Thanks, dude.